Now that we understand how to navigate in the inquiry system in the Shedmate Designer, let's learn how we can change the shed size. The most effective way to do it is obviously using the shed presets that we have covered in the previous videos, but you can also manipulate every item here directly from the user interface just by clicking on them. So as we can see here we have a gable roof and, in corrugated zinc, and if I click on the roof, I'll be able to see specific settings and ability to manipulate this based on that specific item. Here I can navigate from corrugated to uniclad, rib, OP panel, and obviously that's going to depend on your company settings. Different companies will have different options here. If I click a roller door, I'm going to be able to see different things like motor or chain. If I click on a PA door, I can see bay offset, height, width, and colors, or you name it. If I click here on a square fascia, I also have different options to manipulate that one. But I will start here first with the shed dimensions. And this can be easily modified just by clicking on here and just typing the dimensions you want by millimeters. So that's what Shedmate understands. So I'll just put here like 10 meters by 20 meters. So I can just do this. And I can change this to like 3.5 meters high. So that's just a basic manipulation I've done there. Another way to do it is just by typing on the specific base, and if I do this, I'm gonna change just that specific base instead of changing the whole shed size. So as we can see here, just that base 8 meters, and I could match and say this is gonna be 5 meters, and that's gonna be, let's say, 7 meters. So now I have a 20 meter long shed design. If you want to do this quicker, you could go to size and base, and then we're gonna have this more advanced panel that's gonna show on the left. So we can just type here easily every one of those details as soon as your client has a specific design intent. For instance, hey, I would like to design a shed that's 35 meters long. I want it to be, let's say, 15 meters wide, and I want it to be 4.2 meters high. So just by doing this, there we go, we have that specific design there. And because I changed here the specific base, we can see here that Shedmate didn't allow me to use that specific one, and that's just because you're not using dynamic base, right? So if I use dynamic base and I change this again, now it goes to 35 meters long. So Artur, what are dynamic base? So dynamic base means that I can define a maximum allowed bay length, and Shedmate's gonna try to create as much base as possible based on that maximum allowed bay length. If I tell Shedmate that my maximum allowed bay length is 5 meters, you're gonna see that Shedmate's gonna create additional base here for me. So just put here 5 meters, and there we go. Now I have 35 meters with the number of bays we discussed. If I actually remove dynamic base, and one way to do it is actually just coming here and just removing this box, and the other way is just clicking on a specific bay and typing a specific value, for instance, 6.5 meters. When I do this, instead of using the dynamic base, now Shedmate just creates specific settings for each one of those bays. So I have here bay number 1, 2, 3, all the way to bay number 7. It shows me roof bracings, wall bracing on the left and the right. And I could just click on this icon here to add another bay, and then it keeps adding different bays, so then I can create specific bays based on the customer demands. So now let's suppose that my client, just to make it simpler, my client wants a 20 meter shed. I'll just put here 20 meters to start with. So I have my 20 meter shed, and now I can just change that to not to be dynamic base, and I can manipulate each of them individually. Say that this one's going to be 7 meters. This one here now is going to be 3 meters, and that one's going to be 5 meters. So now I still have my 20 meter shed, but now I have a specific base that we just typed here, and Shedmate created that for us automatically. There are also some buttons here on the bottom, as you can see, so I can actually create an additional bay or remove that bay. When I do this, Shedmate's gonna get the previous bay dimension and use that as a default. For instance, if this bay here is actually 6.5, if I just change that to 6.5 and I click on add a new one, Shedmate's gonna create another one with 6.5. If this is actually, let's say that everything here is gonna be 5, so I can just click on that button, it's going to create another 5 meter bay. So as you can see, it's very flexible to make any of those modifications inside Shedmate, and you can just use not only the user interface directly, or you can use here the size and base to just manipulate your shed dimensions. Something we haven't covered yet is the mullions here on the end walls. So you can manipulate the mullions directly from the general end walls panel. So here we have the maximum mullion distance. In this case, it's 4 meters. So because we have a 15-meter wide shed, Shedmate's automatically, considering that distance. But I could come here and just type whatever I want. Let's say 7 meters wide, and now we have, just 2 mullions, additional ones there on Shedmate. Sometimes you wanna just change the visibility to fabrication just to manipulate the base in a better way, but you can just use the visibility to come back to the show all at any point in time. So this is how you do it, and just an additional idea here, you can select any of those mullions and delete them, and obviously that's going to be subject to engineering later on down the track, but this allows you, for instance, to select this specific mullion we have here and unlock that mullion. And when you click on unlock that mullion, you can select any offset you want. Let's say 1.5 meters, so you can move this. So this is very useful for specific custom design where you want it to be in a specific position. Let's say that you want to use that specific mullion and you have a roller door on the end wall here, and you want to use that mullion to kind of give additional support to that roller door to save on materials. So you can offset that mullion by unlocking it straight from the designer here. You can do this on the inquiry, or you can do it later on down the track. It's up to you. You don't have to do it here, but I'm just showing because it's a very good important feature to have in mind. So once again, that's 7 meters. If I want it to be like 10 meters, I'm just going crazy here. That's going to divide that in 2, getting exactly the mid one. So it's 7, 3, 25. So I could actually put here 7.5, and that will do it. So this is how you can manipulate all of the mullions, all of the base and roof angle, and the amount of base and spacing and height of your shed. So that's the basics. And now let's cover how we can manipulate other items inside your shed or outside your shed, depending on your needs.